I'm Chris Thomas, and this is Master Class. The person's pointing a finger in your face. Now, here's the thing about somebody pointing a finger in your face. It's almost impossible to catch a finger. But it's really easy to catch a wrist from the outside in. And once you catch the wrist, it's really easy then to get the finger. And then all you have to do is bring it close to yourself. And you've got it. Now, in a lot of our katas in Isshin-ryu, then the thing we do is we step over and we separate our hands, right? Now, that's the nice version. All right, so he's doing that. Hey, you think I'm right? Now, so I'm standing like this. I've got this locked in. Now, I want to make it worse. What I do is, as I'm going this direction, I intentionally pop across this way so that I get that little bit of a hit. Bang. Just enough. And then typically, whatever your next movement is in the kata, you just keep that finger and go from there. So in the case of Nahanchi, when I'm here, the next move is to cross step and turn. Where'd you go, man? You see how simple that was? Right? I just went boom, boom, and he was on his way. Now this is low level. This is what we call drunken uncle technique. Yeah, that's thanks to Wes. Wes was one of the back in the day, we had a group we called the Donut Gang, and Wes was one of those guys. Here are the details. He's pointing the finger. He's like, you dirty son of a gun. You catch it this way. You don't try to catch the finger. You go boom here, and then still don't try to catch the finger. Guide it into your hand. It's actually really easy. Even if he's doing the pump version, it's still really easy. Okay, then turn it so his fingers face him. So in other words, your hands come down like this. Turn it, right, hands come down like this. So my hands are in this position. His fingers are facing him. So I just cross step, and now when I rotate, he goes spiraling around me. So you notice how I'm not moving very much and he's moving a lot. This is because I'm lazy. So my feeling is, I don't want to have to do all this movement, so I just make you move. And this is, so this is pure bunkai. I just did the kata. Right? Everything is there exactly the way it is practiced. We were going off of a two-finger, but this technique actually works even better. So obviously, if I have one finger, it's easier for me to do a technique on him. He's got wobbly fingers, I will say that. But the more fingers I have, right, the harder it is for me to do a technique on him. He can resist more. He can fight back. He can start to make a fist and resist me. So I got all the fingers. So there's a couple pieces that I'm going to do right away. First thing is, now all I'm changing is how the attack is. He's coming in with that push, or it's a two-hand push or something, and I just select which hand I want to work with. I pull his hand in here. Can you see the beginning of a palm turn, right? The beginning of a palm turn. So one basic application would be to go right into a palm turn and then just turn this way to take it down. But we're gonna stick it in the Isshin-ryu, and we're gonna take care of the energetics too. I'm gonna go ahead and bring it down, and as I do the palm turn, I'm still gonna point all those fingers at him. I'm just adding the rotation around the wrist. Everyone know what I mean when I say palm turn? So now I'm pointing this at him. Now I have 4 fingers. Energetically, when we talk about acupuncture, those 4 fingers are large intestine meridian, pericardial meridian, triple warmer meridian, heart, and small intestine. So there are 5 meridians, and what is the element of those meridians? Fire! These are all fire. So there's a little metal thrown in there too, but the metal is almost incidental. It's so overwhelmed by the amount of fire in this particular system that I treat this as this is an attack against the fire system. So what that means is this: once I've entered, this is my entry, now I can begin to utilize the cycle of destruction. I can use some water to put out the fire. So I'm going to do the opening move of the kata. Right? Hear the lovely noise that adds. Now I've got a ton of his fingers, so I'm not getting as much mechanical pressure on him, but by including the water element of the stance, I get a really great result. So this stance is considered a water stance. And it does what water does. Water spirals and sinks. Water always seeks the lowest place, and water always has this quality of spinning and twirling and sort of going around things. So that's water's characteristic. When we do this motion like this, I'm super consistent. The point right here, which is called triple warmer 3, and the point where if I stuck a needle through triple warmer 3 and it came out my palm, that would be heart 8. Heart 8 you find just by making a loose fist. That's where your tip of your pinky drops, right? So heart 8 and triple warmer 3, I touch them to each other when I do these kinds of movements. And the reason I do that, A reason I do that, not B, there's like 5. A reason I do that is, let's say that he's doing the threat thing, okay? So what I've done is I'm giving myself information. When we talk about kata, we can talk about show and tell. So show would be what I mean by bunkai. That is, the kata walks me through the physical movement of the technique I'm going to do on my opponent. Tell is where the kata gives me information. So I was talking to you before about a move like this found in some katas, but this is an arrow pointing to a target. So this would be a tell. It's telling me what to hit and also telling me, describing the angle and direction for the blow. Hit it like this. Hit that point like this. Not use your fingertip. All right, so that's a tell. There's a ton of information there. Same thing, this is a tell. If he has this up, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to put him into I can't do it. But it just told me that if I put my heart 8 on his triple warmer 3, then it works. And there's two things behind that. One is mechanical and one is energetic. The energetics is that heart 8 and triple warmer 3 on your own body communicate with each other. So if you touch your heart 8 to your own triple warmer 3, or even just get it close, you can actually feel something happening, or at least I can. I feel almost, I don't even have like a bridge of heat that connects discretely those 2 points. So that tells me something about how those points are willing to share energy. Well, just like you recognize another human being, even if it's someone you don't know, you recognize them as human. The same thing, if you bring your heart 8 to someone else's triple warmer 3, it recognizes that, oh, that's heart 8 energy. And so they'll communicate, it will receive that energy. So this allows me to put energy into the system. That's the energetic piece. Here's the mechanical piece. If you make a fist, you'll notice that your hand has a curve to it. Pressure on heart 8 is not pressure directly against the bend of the wrist. It's actually pressure on a slight angle to the bend of the wrist. So that's what we call a complex torque. So it's not that the wrist is being bent just backwards. It's being bent a little bit diagonally. And this helps break down the structure. So there's actually two things going on, but this is how this works. Everything connects energetically and biomechanically. That's why we talk about both all the time. So I just do those together. Now, if you want to increase the effectiveness, you do it with this hand. So in the form is just telling me this key information right here. But when I grab his wrist, I can add to the effectiveness of it if I reach across and I touch and catch either Yinji, which is heart point 6, or Shenmen, which is heart point 7. If I just, here's the pressure, okay, now I touch Shenmen and it's easier. I touch Yinji and it's easier, right? So if I reach across, I get engaged the pressure points a little bit, I get more effect. I can also do that by catching P6, Neguan, because that's actually the complementary meridian to triple warmer is pericardium. So these points release the wrist. This point is complementary to this point. So if I touch this point and this point together, it's more effective. Or I can do it on a strictly mechanical level, which is this. As I touch here, I kind of hit, like I'm trying to push his wrist towards my palm, and that also breaks his structure. So which am I going to do? The energetics or the mechanics? Yes. Right. The reason our art works well is because we don't make a choice. We integrate sound mechanics, sound skeletal mechanics, both in terms of what I physically do and what I am doing to his skeleton. So I'm trying to make my skeleton in its most structurally effective place while making his skeleton in an ineffective place. So we do that, and we use the energetics of points, and we don't draw a distinction because what we recognize is that they work absolutely together. But that also means if I miss the point, it still works pretty good. Or if I get the point but miss the mechanics, it still works pretty good. So it's the pizza theory, right? When it's good, it's fantastic, and when it's bad, it's still pretty good. Okay? So I'm mostly concerned with this triple warmer 3-point. That's the one I want you to focus on. You just lay your heart 8 on there. Down he goes. So now I go like this, and then, and that's just the cross step. And by the way, you don't actually have to do the cross step. The thing about the cross step is that it gives me an energetic piece. So I can do the same thing. I go like this, and I just turn like that, and down he goes. The reason for the cross step is the cross step allows me to add in the energetics of water. And I can even do that if you want to take it to like an even deeper level. So like you guys wouldn't bother with this. You'd be trying to get the mechanics right. But if your mechanics are super good, say the word poo. Yeah, poo.
I'm about to say it, but the other way.
Right, so I go like this, and I go poo. And what that is that's so in a water stance, and poo is a sound that corresponds to water, pee, that what are called labials. These kinds of sounds have a characteristic water sound. They help bring water energy into the mix. And oo is a downward directional sound. And actually, the directional sounds also have an elemental equivalent. They're not primarily about the element, they're primarily about direction. But just so happens that the downward direction is the water direction. So that's like the most water you can get is the sound. When we're talking about that element of this art, that's it. A sound that combines the consonantal, which is the part, with the directional oo is as water as you can get. So water up, which would be pa, is water, but it's not as water down. Because water doesn't like to go up, water likes to go down. Got it? Okay. Only play with the elements that will help you. Ignore the extra stuff. All right, don't try to do it all unless you already have it. You know, like, oh, I'm going to play with the sound. All right, do that if you're at that level. But don't overdo it. Don't say to yourself, and then I've got to make the sound, because it won't work. If all you're doing is trying to make the sound, you won't get it to work, because you'll have missed everything else. You have to have a decent technique, and then you add that to it. So let me show you something. So we're going to work the same principle. He wants to hit me. So here's the idea. I'm trying to do my wrist turn press on him. But one of the things that happens is there's a defense that he will seek. So as I go to put this on him, he raises his elbow because he wants to escape. Okay? So, I can actually go towards this. I can begin to anticipate this. So if I go here and he raises his elbow, my own arm can be a little bit hooked in the way. So I like to put it right here. But I can anticipate that if I want. I can actually do this in such a way that he raises his elbow. I can start getting his elbow up. It feels like he's escaping. But right here, see where he is? Now, I cross step and then just shift him over. I put this on. I start to put this on, but I come underneath. He raises his elbow from down here. Okay. So you can you see the position his hand is in on my body? In the mirror, I hope you can see that. See? All right, so I'm going to try to keep my hand as clear as possible so you can really see what's happening. I just make this little cross step, and then I shift my weight, sink, and rotate. Oh. Thanks for watching. Now go train.